Keldrian the Unhinged strode into the High Elves' camp, taking great joy in the discomfiture of the elves surrounding him. But he knew they would not dare strike against him, because he was a paying customer. The Chaos Sorcerer strode up to Thal Victus, the leader of the Bright Thorn Mercenary Company. "Greetings, Captain Victus." Keldrian, the elf, nodded, barely containing his distaste for the presence of chaos that surrounded the mad wizard. "I have brought your payment as agreed," Keldrian said, motioning his troll servant to come forward bearing a chest of gold. "Very good. Where can we find our quarry?" Thal responded as his people took the gold. "The undead have been sighted on the eastern edge of Estalia. My sources feel that they will be moving in this direction. I want them destroyed or driven back before they reach the village of Eliard." "You mean the former village. My sources say there are none living there." "Not correct. While there may not be humans any longer, Grandfather Nurgle has blessed the place considerably now that the dwarves have been driven away, and we do not wish for the undead to spoil what we've set up." "Understood. Your gold is good, so the pact is struck. We will engage the undead and drive them off."
"Excellent! I must say, Captain Victus, you are the most reasonable elf I have ever met."
So the first mission for the Bright Thorn Mercenary Company is to handle the undead problem, or at least one of the undead problems in the area. So we're facing off here in a battle line scenario. I do have an additional mission. I'm trying to unlock the Banner of the Barrows, and to do that, there's a swamp on the elf side. I need to get a unit to that swamp and loot it at some point before the game ends to recover the banner from there. So other than that, pretty simple game. Let's go ahead and get to it. So starting on the left, we have the Mage Alora Victus, level 2 of High Magic. She's hanging out with a unit of 5 Silver Helms with full command. Then there is a unit of, I think it's 20 Sea Guard maybe? They have bows and spears. Much of my knowledge of the High Elves is blinded by the fear I feel from them, so I may not get this right. Next, we have a White Lion Chariot. Then we have Prince Thal Victus. They're on the end of a group of 5 Dragon Princes with full command, and next to them is a Fire Phoenix. Alright, for the undead side, we have 5 Skeletal Horse Archers. With them is Elizabeth, my Lich Priest, level 2 Lord of Nehekara. Then I've got my 30 Skeletal Warriors with full command. Behind them are the Morghast Arakai. Next to that is a unit of what was 5 Dire Wolves, but they set down in a poison thicket and one of them died to dangerous terrain. Then I have my 10 Black Knights with Count Latoria, who is my Vampire General with level 2 to Lore of Fire, thanks to Forbidden Lore. Then I have 3 Vargeists, and up front, vanguarded up, you see is a unit of 5 more dogs. I really don't know how I'm going to handle this army. My magic from my main caster is basically worthless against half of it. And yeah, I just don't know anything. I also, as my second Vanguard, make my first mistake here and decide to Vanguard up this unit of skeletons. And I don't know why I did this, particularly with my caster in there, but this was just dumb. And then the High Elves get turn 1. So yeah, this is all sorts of bad. Everything kind of advances up. The Phoenix comes off of that side to the middle because he realizes that he has nothing to fear from anything in this army, really. And the Silver Helms move up, bringing the Mage close enough to start blasting death into that unit of Skeleton Archers. And yeah, that's exactly what happens. He only takes the 2 signature spells from High Magic, but that's enough. He gets Soul Blight off, I think that's the one. Hits them, and I can't stop it, and he annihilates the whole unit. So now my Mage is hanging out there all by herself. So then, during shooting, his archers ping her, ended up doing 3 wounds. I get 3 6-up rolls to save her life, and I roll 2 sixes and a 1. So she armor saves 2 and stays alive with only a single wound on her, which is as close to awesome as I am feeling for this bad turn 1. So, on my turn, the dogs don't move anything. They loot, so they've got money standing on them. And then she moves and joins them, which means the money automatically goes into my coffers. So, I get some gold there. And then, realizing that I am in serious trouble, I decide to just run the dogs up to the swamp and loot it. So I do get the Banner of the Barrows. And pretty much the rest of my army moves like you see here. This, I don't remember if this is after moves, because I also get off. Yeah, no, this is during moves. So yeah, so the Morghast Arakai come out on the flank. I'm looking at staring down those silver helms with the skeletons, seeing if he'll take the bait there. Then over here, I realize that I'm not going to really avoid those dragon princes, so I kind of want to get up in his face. If I could get the charge off him, that would be great. If not, I definitely want to deal with only one thing at once. Then I'm keeping the Vargeist a little back so that they can have some options into who they need to charge, at least as long as the general's bubble is there to keep them from frenzy baiting. You can also notice there's only 1 dog left, and that's because after I looted and got the, the Banner of the Barrows, it turns out that the swamp was a trap, and I took 4 strength 5 wounds that killed 4 of the 5 dogs. So then, on my magic phase, I end up getting Incantation of the Desert Wind off, and it's bubbled enough where I can basically send my Black Knights right into the front of those Dragon Princes. I send the Vargeist way off on the flank, and I bring the dogs and my caster chick out of the forest, hoping to draw the Phoenix away. And that's pretty much what happens. On his turn, the Dragon Princes, they can't get around the Black Knights, so they figure they go into them. I'm not sure how I feel about this, but part of that is because my fear of High Elves just always weights everything against me, so it's hard for me to really judge what's a good choice and a bad choice when I play them. And over here, Phoenix goes into the dogs. And I guess this is the best I can get there. I'm just not certain about it. And then over here on this flank, he does take the bait. Silverhelm slam into skeletons, which is pretty cool because I'm pretty sure I can hold them up. And when I do, on my next turn, the Arakai are going to come right into his mage's flank. Then with nothing else to do here, he moves up his archer guys, and you actually notice the chariot's missing. It did actually also charge into the front of my Black Knights, so it's over there as well, which is, again, just super not good. I didn't think he would make that long-ass charge. So we go into Magic, and I did not have a chance. I had to challenge with my general to kind of keep the chariots out of line. He threw up his champion. The champion killed my general. His general went to town, and the rest of the Dragon Princes just murdered my Black Knights. So the Dragon Princes reform, and the Lion Chariot overruns. Over here, the dogs, because they had just come out of the Poison Forest, still had poison attacks, so I get off 2 wounds on the Phoenix. But the Phoenix kills everything except for 1 dog. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm still potentially able to get some of that back. So I'm actually feeling reasonably okay with this. And then this pretty much went exactly as I figured. He kills 2 ranks worth of skeletons after the crumble. I do nothing back, I don't think. And I'm just ready to come in with the Arakai into his flank, because that's really all that's going to get anything accomplished here. So, on my turn, the Vargeists attempt to charge the chariot. The chariot flees and ends up where you're seeing it now. Then I go to redirect into the Phoenix. And the only reason that I succeed the redirect into the Phoenix is because, thanks to my last game, I have Indomitable Leadership, or Inspiring Leadership. So I have a +1 leadership on the Vargeists, and the only time it really matters is now. So he's going to go into the side of the Phoenix instead. And as you can see, I succeed that. I also succeed the charge of the Arakai into the flank of his Silverhelms with his wizard there. Then I decide to go ahead and park the dog here in front of the knights. I'm not really sure what I'm doing with that, but yeah, I really just don't know or care at this point. So, magic phase, I choose to pop Incantation of Desert Wind again, get it, hit everything, including the dogs that were over in front of the knights. That one runs around behind them instead, and I crap out a bunch of undead in various units. Definitely going to have to get used to how little you can do that with Lore of Nehekara compared to the vampire lore, but I'm okay. So we go into combat, and this time the Phoenix is like, you know what? It was dumb for me not to kill the Wizardess, so I kill the Wizardess. She does that, and I do 1 wound, I think, with a Vargeist, and he thunderstomps the dogs and kills 2 of them. I win, but it's not by much, and he's not going anywhere, so... Then over here, not only do my Arakai just absolutely slaughter his wizard, but even the spearmen get into the action. I actually kill 1 guy with the spearmen. It's enough to break them, and we run them down. Arakai slam into the front of those spearmen archers, which is not good. And more importantly, the skeletons are kind of in the middle of that water now, totally unable to help anyone. Then on his turn, he fails to rally with the Lion Chariot, so it continues to run. And his Dragon Prince's swift reform and move close enough up the butt of my Vargeist so that I can't get anybody in between and redirect him, so that's awesome. And then we go into combat, and the Vargeists stomp a mud hole in the Phoenix and kill it. I think, if I'm looking at this right, I'm thinking the Phoenix killed 1 back instead because they're striking Simo. But I killed the Phoenix, so that's pretty awesome. And then I lose bad against the Arakais. One of the Arakais tries for his BSB who is in that unit, and I can't hit for crap. The other one completely fails to kill normal elves, so I do no wounds to this unit. Between the 1 or 2 wounds he does to me, they crumble, so the one Arakai is totally dead, the other one's got 1 or 2 wounds on him. So on my turn, I decide I want the Vargeist the hell out of there, so they charge the Chariot. The Chariot runs forward a pathetically small amount, and is actually caught and run down by the Vargeists, who roll an 11 plus their 10 movement for the charge there. Then I just kind of pack up and surround the princes. They're going to just murder whatever gets put in front of them, so it's no real big deal. I'm just trying to pretend like these dogs are worth the plastic they're made out of right now. They're very well painted. My wife did them, but God, do I wish I had some core that weren't terrible. Then I reform over here thinking maybe I'll pull the same trick with the Spearmen and the Dragon Princes as I did with the Silverhelms, not realizing that my Arakai is not long for this world, and I've just presented my flank to the Spearmen here. So we go into combat. Spearmen absolutely murder the Arakai, and now I realize that this was a dumb move, and it's really too late to do anything about it. Oh yeah, and then to just add fun to things, that little dive behind my dogs is where the Phoenix died, and it's just like dropping these big pie plates, strength 4 or 5 flaming attacks as the thing's trying to flare back to life, and just randomly murdering dogs, which is awesome. So on his turn, the Dragon Princes charge the 1 remaining dog now, and yeah, it's gonna die. And surprise to no one, that's what happens. You also see his Spearmen charge the flank of my Spearmen up there as well. But the funny part is, so he kills this This dog overruns, clips one dude on the edge of the forest there, fails his dangerous terrain, and the one dude dies. And I didn't get a picture of it, but he kills all but like one rank of the skeletons, and that's pretty much where I call the game, because I've got no chance against what he's got left. As the remaining undead pulled back, hauling their wounded masters in tow, Thal called for the return to camp. They'd been paid to attack, and they had done so, and he had no intention of going further. Silas, the captain called, see to the ashes of the phoenix. We'll need them. The elves quickly made their way to camp, all that they had lost in the battle in tow. Thal quickly sent his emissaries out to find still more work. They needed a city of their own, and for that they would need wealth. But as Thal was thinking, he saw that it perhaps would be better to take ownership over an entire land than restrict themselves to one small city. The remains of these countries would prove to be an easy mark for them to lay claim to. Of course, their fight against the undead had not gone completely without issue. Alora had fallen, and this put Thal into a frenzy, looking to find someone capable of bringing her back from the brink of death. This was successful to a point. He had found someone to perform the act, but it was unsavory. The figure had remained cloaked, but for the deed he took a pact from Thal, one that said that he would be owed a large favor. Thal, when he was a prince, would have turned away, but this time around he needed the mage more than anything, so grudgingly he accepted the terms. It was unpleasant to do so, but he had to do everything that he could. Hopefully, this deal would not unravel everything he strived to build, but it was the only chance he saw to give his people a new home. So, pretty dominant first showing for the High Elves to hand me my first defeat of the campaign. They gained Beneath the Proud standard, so they'll get a free standard of 20 gold pieces or less. And Alora Victus, his mage, did die in combat with the Mortarks, but he did spend his plot coin, and as you can hear from the hinting ending, he has figured out some dark and creepy way to bring her back into the scenario. And boy, was this a butt kicking for the vampire counts. Luckily, though, it didn't end up too bad. I did gain 19 gold pieces. My lose result actually was the one good one. Have to prove themselves. Every unit in this that I use in my next game gets the hatred rule, and I did succeed my mission, so I got Banner of Barrows. But yeah, the vampire counts have been beaten back to Astalia, and I guess it's going to be interesting to see where the story takes them from here. So, all in all, thoughts on my first loss for the campaign. I think two things. I let myself get psyched out by the High Elves like I always do. And my deployment was just absolutely terrible. There was no reason that my Nehekarin caster needed to be up where he could have shot me. She needed to be sort of tight in and packed and protected. My fire mage did not need to be across from the Phoenix and the Princes. That was stupid too. I deployed badly, my list wasn't great, and then I played it stupid. So I got beat. There's really nothing I can say more than that, other than I still hate High Elves, and I need to find a way to beat them with something. But all in all, it was a fun game, even though I was getting my teeth kicked down my throat. And I hope you guys enjoyed it as well as I did. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and I will get them to them as soon as possible. Otherwise, we'll catch you next time. Thanks.